Good evening, everyone. We will call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, August 22nd. I'd like to have Deanie Manning come forward, lead us, give us our invocation and lead us in our pledge. If everyone would stand, please. Thank you, Mr. Manning. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Helton. Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Chauncey.
Here.
Councilmember Webb.
Here.
City Manager Dorsey.
Here.
City Attorney Litchford.
Here.
Under item 4, consent agenda, I will assume everyone has had a chance to review the minutes of the August 8, 2019 agenda work session and the minutes of the August 8, 2019 regular council meeting. I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Make motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Webb.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item 5, communication from citizens. This is our opportunity during a council meeting for any citizen or business owner to come forward with any question, concern, and to present to the council. Everyone will have 5 minutes. We'll go down the list from the sign-in sheet, and then we'll ask if there's anybody in the audience who would like to come forward. First, we have John Temple. Yes, sir. If you'll come forward, give us your address, please. John, see if the button, push the button. See, I don't think it's on. Right there in front.
Okay, that's good.
There you go.
I'm here to let the people know that,
Give me for the record, can you give me your name and address again? Your name and your address.
yeah, John Temple, and what'd you say now? The
Address?
address is 6820 Satya Way on Frawley Road, right off Frawley Road.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we're, as a lot of you might know, we're members of Jones Memorial Church, and if you don't know where it is, you should go up to the Ringgold Road and go up past the Baptist Church, and we're the next church. We're the second church on the right. And about back in the 70s or 80s, some elementary school teachers came up to the church and talked to the members and all about, they were having, in the elementary school, they were having kids in the middle of winter coming in without shoes and without t-shirts and things like that, or with just t-shirts. So they asked the people in charge of Jones Memorial at that time, would they start to come up with a something they could do to make money to buy some clothes for these kids. So they did, and they started buying them, and they bought 10, 12, 15 at the first. So last year we bought about 150 of them. And so the teachers were very grateful, and they came to the church and thanked us for it and all that stuff. So we're having it again this year. Every year we have a barbecue in September, and that's where mainly where the money goes to. We make sure they're taken care of. We send men over to the school, and they measure the kids that need a coat, and Then we go over and buy them in about October, November, and then they give them to them before Christmas. So, anyway, so what I'm asking the city to do to support us, they've always have supported us, and, with this, and, let us hang up some flyers in the building. These are what they look like, and, you'll be seeing them out around the roads, and the other businesses will be starting to, pass them out, and, also we would like, to be able to get out front, put a sign up out front, that nice public thing you got there.
Okay, the electronic, we put it on the
Yeah,
electronic sign?
electronics thing, and maybe the last week of the 3 weeks, maybe Monday to Friday, to make sure everybody knows about it. We just trying to get the word out, everybody.
And then you'll get that electronic sign.
I understand. I don't know
Okay.
the policy on what we can or can't put on the sign. There may be, but
We'll
we will check into that.
We'll check into that.
Okay. So, anyway, that's what I'm here for, and to let everybody know about it. And, so we'd like your help, your support, and, any questions? Anybody got any questions about it?
What's the date?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. The date is, September 21st. September 3rd, Saturday in September. At Jones Memorial, right up there about 2 blocks. They have the barbecue, they got plates, which is a big barbecue, and then about 3 or 4 vegetables on it. That's $9. Then they have an extra large sandwich, just barbecue sandwich. It's $6. And then also you can buy it by the pound and take it home and save it, cook it next week or something. There'll be a trailer out there with ice down and get that. And they also have stuffed potatoes, which are real good. We sell a lot of those. And then, let's see, what else? Well, that's sort of a rundown, but anyway. Y'all got any questions? Anybody?
Do you have tickets with you tonight?
Beg your
Do
pardon?
you have tickets?
I have some tickets with me, yes, and, but we, like I say, just, okay.
If he's not here after the meeting, you can either reach out to me or Mike as well. We're both members of Jones, so. Thank you, sir. Next we have on the list is Robert Jones.
I'm Robert Jones, 4247 Newport Drive. I had to think of the numbers, I couldn't remember. I just wanted to remind everybody about this coming Saturday, the show. I know we always do business and things here, and we're always serious. And sometimes we just like to have a break and enjoy things, and I hope that I can take people's mind off of business and just let them live in a fantasy world for about an hour and a half or so. And so that everybody knows, we're going to be doing a Grand Illusion and comedy show just up the road at South Seminole Baptist Church. They've let us use their Family Life Center around back. Tickets, because you were asking about tickets, are online, $10, and they're at the door for $15. We may run a special that day just because I want to fill up the auditorium and just have a good time and let everybody enjoy East Ridge. The money's going to go for the Needy Child Fund of East Ridge. I'm asking if you want to bring a canned food or something we can donate to the East Ridge Food Pantry. And part of the portion of the proceeds will go to the youth department there at the church as well. Just so that everybody knows, it is at the church. I'm not going to be preaching. It's all fun. The church did not hire me to preach. So if they had, that might have been a different story. But I just want you to know we're having fun, and that's what it's all about. And that'll be Saturday at 5 o'clock. And I hate to run, but I'm in the middle of prepping and getting ready for it. But I wanted to come and say hi to everybody. But thanks a lot.
Thank you. That's all that I have on the sign-in sheet. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward, bring a question or a concern to the council? I see no one. We will move forward into Communications from council members. I'll start on this side. Councilmember Cagle, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Councilmember Johnson?
No, sir.
Councilmember Witt?
I do have something. I would like to thank the mayor and the city manager for allowing me to work with the Complete Count Census Committee. I've got some members that are out there. We had our first meeting on the 16th of August, and out of the 25 people that I included in it, 21 of them showed, so thank you so much. We will be having a booth at Pioneer Fest, and so I hope you will support this in Camp Jordan on September the 7th. It's from 9 to 3. So come down there and learn something about the census. Mayor Williams and I attended a census meeting with Mayor Burke's office yesterday. It was their complete count committee. We learned a lot there, but the one thing I was impressed with is that we were highlighted because we had already set up our complete count committee, and that's due to the great work that our mayor and city manager did in getting ours started. So that was very impressive. They also were impressed with the fact that Chris had hosted a census meeting for the Small Cities Coalition. So it was good to go to the Mayor Burke's office and be recognized. If you want to know more about the census, we're going to update our website, Brian said, but right now you can go on the Chattanooga website and pull up any kind of information you want to know on the census. We are asking all of our citizens, just because you're not on the Complete Count Committee, to participate by promoting the importance of filling out the census. You can fill it out online, you can fill it out by mail, or you can fill it out by the internet. But it's very important when you're looking at our federal funding, our redistricting of the state legislative districts, transportation needs, housing and rehabilitation loans, planning and implementing program services and emergency response, and the major one fits me down here, designing facilities for people with disability and the elderly and the children. So it's very important that we promote the census, y'all. You will be hearing a lot more from us, from the mayor, from everybody up here. So if you know somebody that would like to be on this Complete Count Committee, just let me know. They also have paying jobs, $14 an hour, you can go to work for the census. But everybody on this committee is volunteer, and thank you so much. Appreciate it. Anything you want to add?
Nope, great job. When is the next meeting?
It is September the 20th. It is at Wally's. It's Dutch Treat because we don't have any money, but that's okay. So that's your contribution to working with the city. But hopefully, if you want to come, let me know. It's Wally's 8 in the morning till 9:30. So we're very happy that we have some people that are interested in promoting our city because we do need the funding and we do want the funding.
Thank you very much. To add on to that, the meeting was last Friday. We had 21 participants that came, and we want to greatly thank them for their volunteering and mark that off. Because it's really great to have this much involvement. Like Andy said, Mayor Burke singled us out and pointed out that we're doing a great job. We have great participation, and a lot of that has to do with Councilmember Witt. She's doing a great job. She's taken this assignment that I asked her to do, and she's been running with it, and she's doing a great job. And I thank all the volunteers that are willing to step up and do this to help our city. So that was one of mine. Robert mentioned the one that I was also going to say, the Stars for Magic. That was this coming Saturday at 5 o'clock, South Seminole Baptist Church. Pioneer Fest, September the 7th. Spun for the Needy Child Fund, just don't forget that. We have a cruise in. There's a cruise in to benefit the East Ridge Community Food Pantry on September the 14th at Corner Cafe. So the time on that is 5 o'clock. So come support that. Bring your cars or come see some cars.
What was that date again?
That is the 14th, September the 14th, 5 o'clock, Corner Cafe. There'll be hamburgers and hot dogs. We're taking up monetary donations and canned donations for the food pantry. And then as John mentioned Jones, they're having their annual barbecue on the 21st, 10 to 6. I think he went over the barbecue sandwiches, there's 6, plates are 9. Of course, there's beef and pork for the sandwiches, the plates, there's beef, chicken, and pork, stuffed potatoes, beef and pork, and then by the pound for $10, beef and pork as well. I think that's all I have. City Manager?
Thank you. I've been up attending a risk management seminar this week. Matter of fact, just drove back a couple hours ago to be here, and as soon as the meeting's over, I'm going back up in Franklin. And it's thank you. It's a good seminar. They have it every year. It's by the they're called the Public Entity Partners now, the Tennessee Risk Management Pool, and there's probably 300 people from all the different cities in Tennessee that are there at this, and just learning different things about how to be better prepared for cyber attacks, and we had one session on officer-involved shootings and what, how we should be handling those from the administrative standpoint, things that we need to be doing to be cognizant of those sorts of things. And there was just some other good sessions. There's a few more tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to going back to that. I was going to thank, and I still will, thank Gandhi for her leadership on the census thing. It's amazing what you can do when you bring cookies. We had a full house for her training on Friday, and even the census representatives were very impressed by the fact that the room was packed for people willing to help. So I said, "Put on cookies, did you?" You did? Okay, that was good. Besides that, I just want to thank Kenny. He's working real hard to help get these garbage trucks on the road, get this issue taken care of. Starting with the special meeting we had Monday to go ahead and purchase that one. Now, I didn't tell him I was going to ask him, but can you give us just a real quick update on how we're doing with trucks right now?
Yes, currently, matter of fact, let me get my list because I updated it just today. We have 2 one-arm trucks out on the street right now, and we have both of our rear loaders out working operations. And then we hope to take delivery of the Mack on Monday. It is in Chattanooga, and they're just doing some final preparations for it before delivery.
We're renting one truck right now.
And that's one of that I counted into the
That's out.
into the automated.
Yeah. So we're getting pretty much caught up. We missed one route, I think, on Monday, but we caught back up on that.
We did, and they worked 2 nights this week till 7, I believe.
So that caught up.
We appreciate the sanitation department, and definitely for what they're having to go through because of the equipment issues.
With the equipment issues and just the job itself, it's very difficult. And so we spent some time with them last Friday and was able to tell them how much we appreciate them. We know they've been struggling for a while, but we're trying to ease their tension as much as possible because they do provide a fantastic service. It's enhance it, make it better.
Thank you again. That's all I have.
All right, we will move into item 8A, old business, ordinance number 1111.
This is the ordinance number 1111, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee to amend the zoning regulations and the zoning map of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee so as to rezone the property located at 529 Frawley Road, tax map number 170G-A-006.02 from A1 Agricultural District and A1 Residential District to RT1 Residential Townhouse District.
And this was on the last council first reading. It was tabled. Is there any? If anyone wants to take action on this, or it can stay on the table.
Mayor, I'd like to see it removed from the table and vote on it.
I second it.
So that's in the form of a
I'll make a
motion.
motion that we remove it from the table. Sorry, I wasn't clear on that.
All right. So you have a motion to remove from the table by Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. So that comes off the table, and can please confirm if I'm incorrect or not, but that actually comes off the table and it's setting with a motion. I believe that was by Councilmember Cagle and a second by Councilmember Chauncey.
That's correct. So that's where we sit.
That's what we're sitting. So we have a motion and a second. So do we have any discussion? And that was to approve.
Correct.
All right, I see no discussion. Roll call, Ms. Nielsen.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey?
Yes.
Councilmember Witt?
Yes.
Mayor Williams?
Yes. Ordinance 111 was approved, first reading. Under new business, item A, ordinance 1112.
And Mark, if I could real quick, the caption that's on here is not the correct caption. This tells exactly what's going to happen with it, but for purposes of simplicity, we have changed the caption to make it easier to read.
Okay.
We have that on the. It was on the work session, but for some reason, Jennifer, we just mischanged it on this one.
I've got that right here. Okay, so ordinance number 1112, an ordinance to amend Title 8, Chapter 2 of the City of East Ridge Municipal Code pertaining to retail sale permits.
Thank you.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. As some of you know, I've been working with the, trying to make some changes into the beer ordinance that we have currently. We have a lot of new, exciting economic development things happening in East Ridge, and we're trying to make it a better place for restaurants to be able to come, and whether it's microbreweries like a Big River sort of place or things of that nature, just to have more alternatives for people that may want to come to East Ridge. So these are some of the changes that we've made. If you looked at the sheet that I had in here for the memo, what we did was there were 3 different types of beer permits. We added 2 more to make 5 different types of beer permits, and we enhanced the requirements, which I'll talk about here in just a second. Section 8.210, which is the permits, we better defined what a Class 1 on-premise permit is, which is for the restaurants. The definition for the restaurant, it's still where the permit has to be, where if it's a restaurant, 50% or more of its gross sales has to be food. But the way the ordinance was written before, it had where every month the permittees had to turn in reports to the city to prove that they were still over 50%. I looked at other ordinances from other cities and even the states where they talk about it for liquor purposes. They all agree on the 50%, but nobody makes them have to prove that. So what we did was we got rid of, because I talked to Janet about this as well, Ms. Middleton, excuse me. So we got rid of that part of the ordinance where they have to prove it now. If we suspect there's a problem with it, we still have the right to request documentation of the gross receipts, and it can come up in front of the beer board as well to make sure they're still in compliance. So that is still there. The second thing we changed was at this moment, you can't go outside on the patio of a restaurant and have a beer. So we added the definitions for an outdoor serving area. And basically, it's very similar to what Chattanooga has, where the area has to be adjacent to the restaurant. The area has to be partitioned off, whether it's with a fence, whether it's with landscaping of like poles and chains or things of that nature, where it's definitely separated off and where you have to be able.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you in the middle, but they could currently, it just has to be under a permanent roof.
Right, it
Okay.
says it has to be a permanent roof, thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. But yeah, which basically means that you're not even really outside. I mean,
Right.
You're just under the permanent roof. So with that, where was I? Oh yeah, we talked about it has to have some sort of separation barrier between it and have it designated entrances and exits. And I would also assume there's going to be some code things that go with it for purposes of fire escapes or whatever the proper terminology is. And I've also made sure that the city manager has discretion to be able to, if I think a gate's warranted at one part of that spot, or whatever, where they have the outdoor permit, if we think, there's an issue with traffic or something, that we have the right to ask them to put a gate up on certain parts if we need to. Not where the one designated entrance is, but if there needs to be a gate. We also put something in here which wasn't in any of the ordinances about if any place has live music or recorded music or things like that nature, that if they do, that it's permitted as long as it's not audible off the premises to the unaided human ear in either any enclosed vehicle or inside any adjacent building or within any residence with windows and doors located in any adjacent residential zone. And no entertainment media of any sort, regardless of distance, shall be allowable between the hours of midnight and 7 a.m., period. And also, because, as we were talking about with economic development, if we start getting some hotels in with restaurants in them, we want them to be able to qualify under this Class 1 on-premise permit as well. So they will also be able to do that. The second permit is the Class 2 on-premise permit. And it basically says if you don't qualify for a Class 1, you can apply for a Class 2, which is basically those places where that the gross sales are, that the food is less than 50% of gross sales. So basically your beer or alcohol is more than 50%, okay? And in those sort of situations, right now, we only have 2 on-premise permits that are Class 2s. One is the movie theater. The other is the Hampton Inn over there, where they have their little convenience store area. Those are the only 2 Class 2s we have. Under number 3 here, we have the off-premise permit. That one is where that one didn't change. I left that alone. It's just how it was before. And some of these I did leave, and I figured the wording was that way for a particular reason. It didn't behoove me to really change the wording on it. So that's basically your convenience stores or your grocery stores where you buy beer for off-premise consumption. Okay. Next, we have the manufacturer retailer permit, and that's the one I referred to where if you had a microbrewery or nano brewery within the city, that this would be the type of permit they could get. And with that, they can brew beer, they can sell beer there, they can also sell in growlers, if you know what a growler is. It's either 32 or 64 ounce glass container that they can fill up with beer from the brewery that they seal and can be taken off premises. You can't drink the growler while you're there. You can have regular glass, glasses of beer while you're there, but you can't drink the growler while you're there. So, and all of these so far also, we allowed them to have the same provisions for outdoor serving areas and entertainment. The 5th one is...
Same restriction of the music.
Yes, right. We referred back to the same thing for the, like I said, the entertainment and the outdoor serving that we did for the first one. Yes, thank you. The last one is the retailer self-service permit. This is a unique one. They have this in Knoxville. They have this in some other states. I don't know anywhere else in Tennessee that has this at the moment. So I thought it was a unique thing to look into. Basically, what this is where you're able to go in to this bar or this restaurant, it could be a restaurant, and on the wall you basically have beer taps and or wine if they get it regulated through the state. And with this, you have, when you first walk in, you have to walk in through a designated entrance. You have to be carded before you get past that spot. You also have to have wristbands. If you're over 21, doesn't matter if you're drinking or not, you have a wristband to show who's allowed to be consuming alcohol and who's not allowed to be consuming alcohol. You have servers and people that are designated, depending on how many people there are, to be out by the beer taps to watch who is pouring beer and how much beer they're pouring. Basically, what you do with this is you're able to, if you want to sample one beer, you might fill up a 30-liter glass, and if it's 32 cents an ounce, you'll have a prepaid card, and it would take $1.20 or something off your card as you go. So we were just trying to look at doing something different And I think this is an exciting thing to look at here. Chattanooga doesn't have this in their beer code yet. I'm surprised they don't. But like I said, it's just a different type of business that can come out. There is still security for this. There's still, protection so that kids aren't drinking. Just like at a restaurant, you could pour a beer and hand it to somebody over 21. You have the same sort of thing here where you're protecting the rights of those over 21 to make sure they're drinking, but also to make sure that if you're under 21, you can't. And in addition on this one, we have that if you're under 21, you can't be in there unless you're with a parent or a guardian. A bunch of kids just can't go in there on their own. You have to be with a parent or a guardian if you're under 21. Yes?
And did you not, if I'm not mistaken, it also controls the volume or the number of beers?
Yes, after, and so you just can't keep going up and getting beer. After a predetermined amount of minutes and predetermined amount of pours, it will automatically cut off for a certain amount of time the amount of that time for that will be determined by the beer board. Because I don't want to get too restricted on that, not knowing what sort of company might come. And no, there is nobody that's asked about coming. But there's different ways you can do it. Like I said, you can use prepaid cards, you can use wristbands. There's different ways to do that. But yes, that is another way they have in there to double check to make sure that you're not overindulging on the beer. Thank you. That also took out, it replaced what was where is it? What's the next section? I'm sorry. But we also took out the part where there was a restriction of 8 permits on the Class 2 on premise. I don't know why there was a restriction of 8 permits. It wasn't until recently that you even got 2 permits. It's not like we have a proliferation of taverns, which is basically what that is, coming into East Ridge. So we took that out. If we find out that maybe there is going to be an issue with that in the future, you can always amend an ordinance. But we took that out for the moment. We also have in here sale at places connected to sleeping quarters, which basically means if you have a hotel that has a bar in it, that they're allowed to operate within the city of East Ridge with a bar. But you have to have a minimum of 25 rooms for that type of hotel. And it has to be a hotel, not a motel. So, we're looking at like if you had a Holiday Inn or Hilton or one of those that has a bar restaurant in it, that would be allowed. So that's why we changed that a little bit. The next part, under 8-211, that just talks about the type of dispensing equipment, as I mentioned before, for the seltzer beer taps to go through. We talked already about the part where you have to have wristbands. They would be a different color every day. We also talked about the fact that there has to be a certified alcohol server present who stands within sight line of the beer tap. If there's more than 50 customers over the age of 21, you have to have another person that's standing up by the beer tap and so forth and so on. Okay. And it talks about how much in one serving you can only get. You can only get 32. You can only get 2 beers with one serving, and a serving will only give you 16 ounces, but you can only get 2 at the same time. So, like if you were with, a significant other or whoever, you might get both of those and take them back. But that's all you can get. You can't get like 3 or 4 beers all at the same time. We talked about the fact that there's already, a protection in place where it'll cut off so that you can't use it for a predetermined amount of time. And that's basically all. And then the last thing I took out, which is people were commenting on this because a lot of cities had this in there from a long time ago. There was Title 8, Chapter 2, Section 8.214, number 9, said that you could not sell or consume beer in the same room with pool tables. So that was just an old, antiquated one in there, so I deleted that. That's basically it.
That's it? Okay. Thank you, sir. I will entertain any motion toward this.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I know Chris probably didn't invent this ordinance, I think there's some business models out there that are kind of trending towards this type of self-serve
There are.
restaurant type. Okay.
And most of the language that's in here are borrowed from other cities and other,
Again, it's something new, something that Chattanooga doesn't have, something a lot of cities don't have. It's something that, you know, it's exciting to think, and I haven't seen it yet, but I've been doing some research on it. It is something that's trending, so.
And to
excited.
add to that, and I know you had a question, and add to that, we did restrict it somewhat. We put some restrictions in on the music, we put some restrictions in on some other things. So, but we modeled it, or Chris modeled it after some of those, but we did put some more restriction in for our own protection. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Find here where it says that outdoor services, outdoor serving areas defined as patio, deck, courtyard, or other outdoor area. Okay, are they gonna be allowed to go out in the parking lot, get some yellow paint, mark off a big area, pull up a cattle fence around it, call it a patio?
well, that's not adjacent to the business, so no.
Well, it's gotta be attached to the building,
Adjacent, yes.
attached.
Adjacent. In other words, here's the example, okay? Buddy's Barbecue is going to be serving beer, okay? They have a large area right in front, to the front left of where their store is. That is where they're going to have their outdoor patio. There's not going to be, the entrance, designated entrance is right out front there, okay? So I guess you could almost say the word attached, but we use the word adjacent because there might be a walkway between where they are and where the restaurant is, but it's still on their property.
That's my next question. Are they gonna be allowed to come out the front door and block the sidewalk, put a fence around it?
No, because it also says that they have to, you have to be able to leave that front entrance open. This would be a separate,
Yeah, but put the
Place.
gate there, where they get through the gate.
right? And that's what they do in Chattanooga right now anyway. A lot of these are like, if you've been down by the Choo Choo, where Stir is and some of those places, they have their, outdoor seating and restaurant areas and stuff out in front. And they're fenced off or gate off in some way where you are able to sit outside and do that. So we sort of modeled it after that as well. So that people would be the same, would be similar, it'd be a similar experience. Here it is.
If you're out in the patio, you have to go back into the restaurant and out the exit.
No.
The same exit.
No, sir.
We talked about that at first, but a lot of the businesses, if they're existing already, we talked about having to put a hole in the wall or add a doorway or things like that. With this, that's why we said it has to be adjacent or attached to the restaurant, to use Councilman Cagle's word, to have it right there next to it. Now, and so because it's going to have a fence around it or some sort of barrier, there's only going to be basically one designated entrance and exit. Now, they can still have access to go in, like you said so far, but we didn't require it for that reason because some buildings are already there now. And it's not going to be wide open. Like I said, it's only one place you'll be able to go in now. And so we thought that was important to be able to have that now. We will encourage if new buildings are being built, we'll encourage them to go in through the inside. Because see, the owner of the business will be the ones responsible for this to ensure that this is being done correctly. So outside, you would assume you'd see a sign that says no alcohol past this point, things of that nature as well. So it'd be up to the business owners to be able to police, just like we require now.
And violations means they could lose their
That's
beer
exactly
license.
right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
This one is, over in item 3, conditions required, and the retailer's self-service permit says they must be required to have at least seating for 30. And over here it says that they can only allow 50 in per server. Is the seating for the patio plus the business, and the 50 for the patio plus the business?
What it's saying is that it can't just be a little bitty strip place. It has to be able to have the capacity for a minimum of 30 customers in there. The 50 comes into play when you're talking about the amount of people that are over 21. You want to make sure you have one server monitoring the taps, but if more people are in the restaurant or in the bar than 50, you need to have multiple people to be up there to watch. Now, that doesn't mean all 50 people go up at the exact same time, just like if you go to Wendy's or somewhere where you have the fountain drinks and stuff. You know, they'll be coming and going, but when you have that many, we have the provision in there that you have to have more people watching.
Monitor.
When you have, monitor, thank you, when you have larger crowds.
Actually, I was asking, do they have to have seating for 30 on the patio?
No, just 30 total.
30 total for the inside of the building and out.
Mhm.
And the tap's going to be on the inside of the building.
Correct.
They are required to have food.
They are required to have menus.
No food, just meat.
Menus. And I'll tell you, and if I could real quick, the reason I know this is because when you do the manufacturer retailer permit, it's set in there because it is in Tennessee Code annotated 575101. It refers back to 574, 100 and whatever. And it talks about the fact that you have to have so many seats, you have to have menus available and all this. I'm like, and I couldn't figure out because I've been to a couple where there was no kitchen. I'm like, well, how do you get your food? And what it is you have menus available in there for places that will deliver food. That also helps the restaurants that are already in East Ridge being able to have their food, and they bring their food in with them, but you have to have available menus of restaurants, so that will also help the restaurants that we already have.
So are they going to be required to have a restaurant's license in?
No, they're going to have a retailer self-service permit license.
Okay, somewhere else I read it is that you got to have a permit for each thing that you do.
Where are you reading that?
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember if I read it in this or another city ordinance or another city rule. I've read so much about this beer.
Yeah.
Since I've got it.
Just have to have
Anyway,
the one here.
Let's stick to this.
Okay.
Because we got another vote coming up. All right, the beer growlers.
Yes.
I know when they first come out, my sister sold them. So they cannot be drank on the premises.
Right.
So when they go up there, they got to put a heat shrink seal on.
Correct.
So the bartender or the server is required to do that.
Correct.
You said a minute ago that they could come up and get 2 16-ounce beers at a time.
Correct.
It says, while customers will be allowed to dispense beer to themselves, only employees or agents permitted to maintain that. So they're only going to be allowed to serve 2 beers to themselves or 1 16-ounce beer.
I don't understand your question.
Okay. Somewhere in here it says they can buy 32 ounces of beer at one time. But they're only allowed to buy 16 ounces. 16 ounces is considered a serving.
Are you on K?
And it's 2 right here.
Just to make sure we're reading.
On page 4, number 2. Down here it says, while customers will be allowed to dispense beer to themselves. So if you're allowed to get 2 16 ounces and carry it back there and hand your spouse one.
Mm-hmm.
So if my spouse is not with me, but I can still get 2 16-ounce beers.
Correct.
Like 2 beers at a time. Okay.
You could do that anywhere. You could go into a restaurant and do that.
But I'm talking about self-service.
Yes, but then they couldn't go back for beer number 3 for a predetermined amount of time.
What stops them from calling the server over and say, ma'am, have another beer?
Because if you read here, it talks about the fact that the dispensing equipment must be locked and permanently affixed in the establishment. Access to the inside of the dispensing equipment will be restricted by a locking device, which shall be locked during the hours that the business is open to public. It may only be opened by an employee or agent of the permittee. While customers will be allowed to dispense beer to themselves, only employees or agents of the permittee may turn on, turn off, or restart the equipment. Any software needed to operate the dispensing equipment shall be exclusively controlled by the permittee and shall be located in a permanent location inside the permitted premises.
Well, I read that. May I have a bottle of Bud? I don't want a draft, I want a bottle.
They don't have bottles.
It's tap wall.
No self-service has bottle.
No, it's all tap.
So if, say Melody's up here, decides to go self-service, she is not allowed to sell more bottled beer or canned beer?
No, she could sell bottled beer, but the service would bring them the bottled beer. This is just for self-serve beer taps. And usually you wouldn't see this maybe in that type of restaurant.
No way of regulating the
There
amount
is
of beer
regulating.
that I want to drink
Sure.
till I get drunk. and then
Most of these
throw it
places, you could even make a condition to beer board when, if you bring this in, that everything has to be draft. Because you usually don't see these in a restaurant. These are usually like it could be, the one I went to, my sister, there's one in Richmond where my sister lives, and it's like a big area where they do have it's like a Dave & Buster's sort of thing. But it's a lot smaller scale than that. And they, like I said, they have it on the wall, and you can go up with your cart, you can get the beer, you can sit down. You can try different varieties of beer. If you've never tried a certain beer, I want to sample that one. You might just take a couple ounces of that one, a couple ounces of another.
But let me interject, and correct me if I'm wrong, but, so the server's gonna be aware that they've been to get two, because the server had to unlock and initiate their pours.
No, what happens is when you first go in, you have a prepaid card or a prepaid wristband, whichever way they want to do it, whichever they want to do it. When they go up and use the machine, it'll come off of that card at that point. So at that point, the servers are watching what's going on, yes. And the whole point of having the automated cutoff is that even if for some reason the server is helping somebody over here with a problem, they can't get a third beer. It's going to automatically cut off, and they will have to wait whatever that predetermined amount of time is in order to be able to have that next beer. You go to a restaurant right now, you could order 2 beers, and 2 seconds later, you could order the third beer.
Yeah, and I think in most restaurants, I mean, you can go up to the bartender and sit at the bar and have 2 beers. Go sit at a table and have a totally different waiter or waitress and have 2 more beers. And it's just up to the entire staff and the management to monitor and regulate and be responsible for alcohol consumption under the roof. So,
Over here in, out of jail, page 5, it states again, they can only pour beer for themselves.
Right.
When do we think we can get the beer board to determine a time for the amount?
To me, it would depend on if an establishment wants to come, and when they come in front of the beer board, they would ask them, what sort of equipment they have, what sort of things can you do with that equipment. And at that point, if they say, well, our equipment software lets you, have to wait 30 minutes before you get your next beer, or 20 minutes. I didn't want to put a specific number in here. I was going to let the beer board make that determination depending on how the software for the equipment was, depending on who it was.
You answered my question about the underage 21.
Yes, sir.
Got to be with a parent or a guardian.
Right.
Or we want to put a number of where a soccer team cannot come in. It's under a 21. You can be on the patio or inside the restaurant, correct? Is the way I'm understanding that?
Yes. I would hope a whole soccer team wouldn't be going in to drink beer anyway.
No, I didn't know. Going into a restaurant to eat.
Well, like I said, again, Councilman Campbell, you're not going to, my assumption is you won't see this in a restaurant. This is usually a totally different environment than a regular restaurant. We just go, we have like a self-serve Coke fountain. It's not going to be anything like that. This is more of a bar type atmosphere.
Or the breweries.
Yeah, we have the brewery one too, but this could also be more of a bar type atmosphere.
Soccer teams are subject to all go into the brewery to do an all or the making of beer. So,
But they're not drinking.
they're not drinking, but they may not have their parent or guardian with them. They may have the coach with them.
Right? But you go to a restaurant without a parent or guardian where they serve beer.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's semantic. I mean, it's,
And the rule about the pool, that should have been took out a long time ago, and never was enforced.
I was like,
That's when I shot it, never was enforced.
A lot of cities still have it in there where you can't dance in the same room where you drink beer. They do.
That's the only time someone has enough nerve to dance.
I know.
Do we have any other questions, council?
Those are very good questions.
Yes, appreciate it. All right, we have a motion to approve from Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle.
No.
Councilmember Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance 1112, approved first reading. Item B, Resolution 2975.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, awarding a bid for the purchase of 4 new 2019 or newer police pursuit sport utility vehicles, SUV, AWD.
Yes, Mr. Allen.
Yes, sir, Mayor, Council. We submitted bids for police interceptor SUVs. We received 5 bids back. Those bids were by Mountain View Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Mountain View Ford Lincoln, Marshall Mize Ford, Freeland Chevrolet, and Ford of Dalton. The lowest bid was Mountain View Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. However, they did not meet all the specifications. The next lowest bid that did meet all the specifications, excuse me, were from Ford of Dalton. The total cost for 4 vehicles was $133,580 or $33,395 each. We are asking that to approve the bid from Ford of Dalton.
Thank you, sir. We'll entertain a motion for Resolution 2975.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2975.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Chauncey. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason why the Durangos didn't meet specs?
Those vehicles come only with cloth rear seats instead of vinyl rear seats.
And are these already equipped with light sirens?
They are not. They will come
Attach that on.
when the vehicles get here, or when the bid is awarded, then we will submit a bid solicitation for equipping the vehicles with lights, siren, and everything else in it.
And if I remember correctly, we're planning on using drug fund proceeds
That's
for that
correct.
and not general fund money for that. Because
Right.
you can use one-time purchases for law
Right.
enforcement things with that fund, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we'll have enough money in the drug. That was my next question.
Yes,
It's
sir.
on the borrow the 133 to go up to 141. Why don't we borrow the money on the same note to outfit the cars?
Because we're using,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I ain't gonna use the
Yes,
drug
sir.
fund money.
Tom?
Any other questions?
Does the cars, are we going to be selling a car too, or at some point? I think it's my understanding, if we have a car that's designated for a drug unit, that money goes back into the drug fund as well. Is that correct?
That's a question for Diane, I think.
She's not here then.
I'm sorry.
I was looking at a way to highlight us recouping some costs there. So
We
I
are.
would say if a car, from my knowledge of it, if you had a car specifically bought with drug fund money and you sold it, it would go back to the drug fund.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure we don't have any vehicles that were bought specifically. Just like even if you seize a vehicle and it's used for other purposes for, law enforcement, when you sell that vehicle, that money has to go to the drug fund.
But a question or a point to that, or a question to Mr. Allen is, I think we were really tight on vehicles as it is. So will there be any of these vehicles be replacing something that could be sold, or is this going to be give us additional line cars for backup?
No, sir. There is one definitely vehicle that we're going to be selling, and the possibility of one or two in addition.
But that will clearly be evaluated based on needs.
Correct.
Correct.
So we don't fall below what our minimum
Which we have.
reserve vehicle is moving forward.
Yeah, previously. I think I saw you. Do you have a question?
The resolution doesn't state who the bid would go to, so Councilmember Witt needs to specify which bidder.
Oh, okay. The Port of Dalton?
That's
Okay.
correct.
That's the bidder that we need to give this to. So my resolution is to approve the Port of Dalton for this resolution 2975.
I'll second that.
Okay, so your motion to approve resolution 2975 for the purchase of the vehicles from Fort of Dalton. And Councilmember Witt, and a second from Councilmember Chauncey. Are we good now? Thank you for keeping that straight. Any other questions? I'll ask again. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 2975 passed. Item C, resolution 2976.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, approving photography bids for the 2019 and 2020 sports season.
Yes, Mayor and Council, bids for the 2019-2020 athletic season were opened on August the 6th. There was 3 qualified bidders. Life Touch agreed to pay 25% commission of gross picture sales. Great Photos agreed to pay 20% commission of gross photo sales. And S-Max Photography agreed to pay the city 15% commission of gross photo sales. Staff recommends awarding Life Touch Sports Photography commission bid for the 2019-2020 athletic season at a 25% commission for gross sales.
Thank you, Mr. Custer. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 2976.
I make a motion to award the bid to Life Touch, resolution number 2976.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Chauncey to approve resolution 2976 for Life Touch. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Mills.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item D.
This is Resolution 2977, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, memorializing the appointment of Mayor Williams of an individual to the East Ridge Planning Commission.
Yes, I would like to, and I spoke to Mr. Tuggle, I'd like to reappoint Casey Tuggle to the Planning Commission. So I need to go ahead and ask for,
Yeah, just still have the
Memorialize.
Our practice is to
Right.
do everything by resolution, just so it tracks better for historical purposes. So yeah, motion in a second.
I will entertain a motion for that acceptance.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do you have any discussion?
This is for a 3-year term.
It's a 3-year term.
Because they're staggered now, it's 2 people.
Okay. Yes, that also coincides with the election. Any other questions? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Thank you. Item E, Resolution 2978.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, memorializing appointments to the East Ridge Housing Commission. Mayor, Council, this is similar to one I think we had for the zoning back a couple months ago. For whatever reason, it appears when we went back to look at the terms expiring, all of the members of the Housing Commission are set to expire, I guess Friday. Is that right? Yeah, it's set to, for whatever reason, they got all together. And so we've left it, what we did last time was we took the council representatives that have appointments for a 1 year remaining, and I believe that was Councilwoman Witt and Vice Mayor Helton. And what we did last time, they got the first year appointments, and then we took Councilmember Cagle and Councilmember Chauncey as the 2 year, and then we gave you the 3rd year. And so we're back to staggered appointments, so that this time next year, these 2 chairs will be voting for, or at least appointed for the 3-year term, so we've consistently got our staggered terms.
Okay. So let me back up, because I don't know if I followed that totally. So you've got Vice Mayor Hilton and Councilmember Witt would have the 1 year at this
They're
point.
appointing for 1 year terms, if that's what this body wants to agree to, right?
Then after that, when the next, whether they're reelected or not, then would it be for another year, or would that be
A 3-year term.
3 year?
Right.
So it rotates 3, 2, 1.
That's, well, they're just this time they're appointing for 1. When the Housing Commission was set up under the code, it was, whenever that was done, I want to say back in
2016.
not the Housing Commission, I thought it was the 2010.
Okay. So I think I'm following. So after this time, this will be a 3-year term thereafter.
Correct, for everybody.
For everybody.
For
Okay.
everybody, yes.
Okay, so just mathematically, you say go
Understand. Set the stagger now, and then it's at 3 years for every reappointment.
Correct, that's right. And under 13-303, it was supposed to have been triggered as staggering ones. This is actually a 1993 code. And so I don't know how they got together. That's, I don't know.
2016, anticipated 3-year term.
It did.
Oh, is that right?
So there was no stagger, I mean.
Staggered.
It didn't say.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see what you're saying.
That's where I was going.
I got you.
It didn't say staggered. What had happened is the original Housing Commission disbanded after a number of years, and when we reinstalled the Housing Commission, basically to provide that other layer of appeal process, we had 5 new members that came on at the same time to be able to meet the needs.
Okay, and so it was staggered.
It's staggered then.
And so
Okay.
what this would be now is for Councilwoman Witt and Vice Mayor Helton, their appointments tonight are for 1 year. This time next year, they'll still be in their seats. They'll be appointing a 3-year term for whoever that individual will be approved. Next year is an election year, but not at August time.
Okay. All right. Everyone understand? All right. So I'll start at the bottom of the list and we'll go to the top. So who's your appointment, Councilmember Wood?
Jeff Ezel.
Okay, so that would be for a 1 year appointment. Jeff Ezel. All right, Councilmember Chauncey.
Going to reappoint Linda Stevens.
Okay, and that would be for a 2-year appointment. Keep me honest.
Correct. Yes, that's 2 years. That's
All
right.
right, Councilmember Cagle.
Mr. Kenny Rogers.
And that is also for a 2-year. With the need to have this filled by Friday, I reached out to Vice Mayor Helton. She replied with her appointment via email and copied myself in. the city attorney, and she wants to reappoint Jim Winters. And that would be for a one-year appointment.
That's correct.
And then I would like to reappoint Earl Wilson, and that would be for the 3-year appointment. All right. As we do with the others, I would like.
I had a question, and that's, it might be just for the Housing Commission if they're here listening. Do they all need to reappoint a new chairman during their first meeting?
They will, yeah. I'll talk to them. When's our next meeting? Is it 2 weeks? The 12th of September, we'll appoint a new chair at that time.
Would you recommend them also appointing a vice mayor, or I'm sorry, a vice chair? Because I don't think they've had a vice chair in the past.
I'm sorry. Councilman, I didn't, did you say that again? I'm sorry.
Would you recommend the Housing Commission appointing a vice chair?
Yeah,
as
they
well?
probably, I think we had a moment where we were absent. Mr. Winters was undergoing some stuff, and so I think they sort of did a impromptu designation. And I can.
We never appointed one.
I thought, did you appoint for that day?
No. I just started for that day.
Right, you just, okay. So I'll talk to them, but as part of their bylaws, they probably could get a vice chair to serve in the absence of the chair, or any vacancy in the chair.
The next meeting is September 9th.
September 9th, okay.
Questions, sir? Any other questions? All right, like we do all the others, I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointments, Resolution 2978.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2978.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt to approve Resolution 2978 with the appointments presented by the council members. Any other discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item F, Resolution 2979.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Eastridge, Tennessee to waive the fee for use of the Camp Jordan Amphitheater by the Eastridge Needy Child Fund for Pioneer Fest.
So, Ms. Lowry was here and wanted to stay. I told her she needed to be home with her husband. He was had surgery recently, and we would take care of this matter for her. So, do we have anybody who would like to make a motion for Resolution 2979?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Cagle and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item G, Resolution 2980.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Eastridge, Tennessee approving a temporary special events permit, beer permit for Donald Edward Lyle on behalf of Ducks Unlimited.
Yes, sir. I believe this is the second year for this permit. Am I correct?
I believe.
I think
Here
that's
last year.
correct, yeah.
We received an application for the temporary special events permit to sell for consumption on-premise beer for Ducks Unlimited Fall Flight Dinner Banquet for October 24th, 2019, to run from 6 to 10 p.m. It's a closed event, only open to invitees. They're expecting approximately 400 persons to attend. We met, the staff and myself, me, Adam Wilson, Stan Allen, and Kenny Custer. We met and reviewed the application, and we found it proper and in order, and all three of them recommended approval as well as I. And we have Mr. Lau. I'm sorry you had to wait so long. But
Yes, sorry.
thank you for being here.
No problem.
Anything you would like
Don
to add?
Lyle, and my name, address is 428 Saudi View Lane, Saudi Daisy. So,
Anything you'd like to add?
no, I have paperwork if you need it. Everyone needs to review it, so I'm fully ready. I could just add this, that last year's event was highly successful, He represents Ducks Unlimited. It was very, very well organized, well attended, well disciplined event. There was 0 issues. We had police force. We had all the proper means that you need to do as far as identification at the door. Just a spectacular event. It was fantastic. So
Very, very happy to have you and very happy to have you return. Thank you.
They have copies of the highlights of that already.
okay, so available.
But they may want a whole packet, that's okay.
I want to say something before you went and sit down. I remember last year when y'all applied, and there was some discrepancy there in the percentage of beer, alcohol in the beer that we could sell. Did we ever get that ironed out where it was kind of
That's right.
cohesive with the state?
That's
They may not know that, so you may know that. I think you're.
That was under discussion.
I think you were wanting something a little more amberish on the menu.
Cabin Hour, so will be
So
some
you're-
Budweiser, Bud Light,
Okay.
and Mid Light, all of which are kind of
Yes, the state of Tennessee changed their definition of beer, as you know, so it has to be 8% or less now. And a lot of jurisdictions all have 5% written in their codes. So I saw, as Kenny mentioned a second ago, that they had last year changed it over so that the East Ridge's definition now matches whatever the state's definitions is. State changes, ours changes.
And we passed that previously.
very good. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I think the Sweetwater was the issue.
That was the issue.
Yeah, that's not an issue this time. All right, entertain a motion for resolution 2980.
Make motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any other discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're with Star, correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right, so you're catering through Star?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to pick
Last
up
year
name.
at this time, did you have a catering license? Caterer's license?
Yes, we do.
I know you do now because I just read it, but the question was last year you didn't.
No, we did.
Okay. Are there anything in our ordinances, I'm asking the attorney and city manager, that the city of East Ridge requires a caterer to have caterer's license inside the city of East Ridge? And do we require them to have a business license for the city of East Ridge?
I'm looking here online of our, this is not updated because I don't think this has the one, there was a discussion last year, Councilman, and
Because I read where he just got his, because he's been in business 4.5 years, and he just now got his caterer's license.
That was an
Still
updated,
bigger.
that was an updated one.
Well, this is one I read off internet where Chattanooga done it for you in state of confusion.
That's correct.
Let me,
Okay,
let me
okay.
ask one question real quick. Is this a cash bar or is this provided as part of the banquet?
This is not a cash bar.
Okay.
This is,
So gross receipted sales as it relates to business license doesn't necessarily apply.
it's a prepaid event.
Prepaid.
Prepaid,
So
kind
it's-
of food, everything all inclusive.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
My next question is, did you all give a post-event report last year?
I did. I submitted it to the prior city mayor.
Well, for some reason I requested one and never did get one. So this year I'd like to have one.
Absolutely.
Copy of
I personally delivered it
what
last
you
year.
are getting prepaid for on the beer and stuff, so. yeah.
Happy to do that, absolutely.
My questions?
Thank you, sir. Any other? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle,
No.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution 2980 approved.
If I may have, add one quick moment. I know you guys were talking about the pour your own draft. We do have that in Chattanooga. If you guys would like to see that for yourself, it's at a place called American Draft. And it's at the Choo Choo, and it's inside one of the rail cars. So it's in the Glenville Gardens.
Interesting, I didn't know.
So, no
American
wait,
Draft.
there's no servers, there's everything you said.
I thought we were stars.
Field trip.
Field trip, yes.
Yeah, good field trip. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
American draft.
Item H, Resolution 2981.
The resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee to purchase tickets for the Jones Memorial United Methodist Church barbecue.
Yes, and this is the barbecue we discussed on the 21st. I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 2981.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2981.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Chauncey and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion?
Were there a dollar limit put on?
Yes, not on the resolution here, but in the memorandum there was. So do we need to amend that motion to state that, or? It's in the memo. Let's see, it's in the,
But it says here, resolved.
yeah, it's actually in the
an
body of
amount
the resolution.
$300.
Yes, $300. Yes, sir. Any other questions? And I believe this is the same amount that we do for the Optimus barbecue as well, just for the record. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Webb.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. That concludes all the items that we have. I appreciate everyone attending. Everyone have a good evening, and thank you.